I believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race.
Graham Platner should get out of the race, and the sooner the better, so that he can be replaced on the ballot.
Okay, these people are so transparent. Those covering the Platner saga as if Schumer, Jeffries, Mamdani, Shaheen are having some principled epiphany, those people are either stupid or in the tank for the Democrats. Who cares what they're saying today, what they said after the sudden appearance of an old girlfriend who accused him of rape? And now, a new allegation.
He was known for being very rough with people. I mean, like, he apologized sober the next day on many of these occasions.
Jenny also talked about unprotected sex as something she didn't want to happen, that he made happen. Is that something you experienced?
Yeah. So that was something that was really, I think, the worst and most violating part.
The truth is, though, the Democrats want him out of the race now because he's no longer useful to them. He was falling behind, and they knew he was roadkill. They do not care about this woman or the next woman or any more than they cared about the first woman who came forward. The only one on their side who had any guts on this is John Fetterman. He called out Platner from day one. He saw through him from day one, and he smashed his colleagues last night.
I would really call Bernie Sanders to apologize for pushing this kind of predator more than anyone he helped him elect, and now apologize to the victims, especially the woman that she claimed that he raped her. So I don't know why you want to keep pushing these kinds of people. Maybe he should consider set a few out and stop pushing these kind of communists.
Under Maine law, Platner has until 5 p.m. Monday to step aside, but Platner may have other plans. The New York Post is reporting he's refusing to drop out unless he gets to approve his replacement. Now, Platner's a pig, but it would kind of serve the Democrat Party right. Here to discuss this is Dan Bongino, Fox News contributor, former FBI deputy director. Dan, you've been following this. What's your sense about how this ultimately, pans out? I mean, is anyone buying this Democrat sudden spark of compassion for these women's story?
I don't think so. And you brought up a really valuable point that I have to kind of reiterate here. This is not about any principle whatsoever. It's not about Platner's position on women or taxes or anything like that. This is about a simple power equation. Platner was an acquisition tool for more power for this collectivist communist left. That is it. The sole principle in their triage of needs was power, and he was a useful tool to get there. When the polls started to dip and there became this this moment, this red line moment after the allegations of porta potty stuff we can't even mention on the air, multiple allegations with women, of course the Nazi tattoo, which was kind of like a sign if you're not a moron. The red line moment only came when the betting markets turned and they were like, hey, man, this guy's probably not going to win. There are no principles involved here at all. You got to just go look up David Horowitz's anti-communist theory to have this make sense. We're the anti-communists, correct? The left are the anti-communists. They're just against us and whatever we stand for to advance their communist agenda. And this guy was a tool that's no longer sharp for them.
Yeah, people focusing on Democrats ditching Platner. I mean, it's not. They are focused on winning. Platner's just he's a side story. They want to grab as much power as possible, and they aim to do it by any means necessary. And Dan, you've talked about this repeatedly, to the extent that they'll overlook all of the stuff that we knew about him, and they'll rush to try to bring in as many people to the country as they can, legalize them as fast as they can, get voting rights for them if they can. I mean, it's all part of a piece, is it not?
Laura, you just said it. Like, the acquisition of power by any, I want to emphasize the any means necessary for the new collectivist left is the only guiding principle. They don't care about your kids. I mean, just bring up an issue. I can tell you how the Democrats will throw you under the bus, the progressive Democrats, on any said issue to acquire power. Hey, we're all interested in the kids and coexistence and cute tolerance bumper stickers and stuff. Hey, what about my kids? They can't get an education. Screw the kids. The unions are voting for us to get us into power. I thought you were about the kids. This was a guy who was going to vote in lockstep in the zero-sum game of freedom and liberty, turning over your freedom and liberty to government. He was a Bernie Sanders tool. Bernie Sanders should be embarrassed. Listen, I don't vote Democrat ever. It's my choice. I don't really care the circumstances. But you're right. Fetterman, credit where credit's due, was trying to warn his own party. This guy's a knucklehead. He's got a freaking Nazi tattoo. In some limited circles, we'd call that a clue. They didn't listen, and now they're stuck. And by the way, this guy Platner's holding all the cards, Laura. He still hasn't dropped out. I mean, what else is going to come out about this guy? If he doesn't want to drop out, you know, they're stuck with this guy. You have to vote for the Nazi tattoo porta potty guy over Susan Collins.
There are a few holdouts, Dan, for Platner. Watch.
Well, then I'm the problem, because I was one of those people, and I said it, if I lived in Maine, I would have, plugged my nose, and I would have voted for him anyway. I think that we are in a time of existential crisis in this country. I think Republicans fall in line. They don't fall in love. I cannot believe that they want to try to assume the moral high ground on the Republican Party.
Well, is she an outlier? She's saying the quiet part out loud here. I mean, she's basically admitting that they're going to look the other way and stick together no matter what.
Listen, we just had a big cleansing in the Republican Party, so I don't want to hear this both sidesism crap from anyone. There's a section of the Democrat Party right now, and it's not small either. People like Sonny Hassan, who I swear to you would vote for Herman Goring tomorrow morning if he could rise from the dead and post Nuremberg and put his name on the ballot. They're that crazy. They just don't care. How are you holding out? What else? Honestly, like, what else has to come out? Like the Nazi tattoo and the self-activities in the Porter Johns and the multiple allegations from multiple women. I mean, whatever happened to Me Too? I thought that was a thing. Like,
They
believe
never
all
believed
women?
it.
What happened?
Yeah, but they
No,
never
of course they
believed it.
didn't. The power,
No,
that's all it's about.
Yeah, no,
No.
this is about this. I mean, they're using that. We just did a whole segment. They're using the Smithsonian as part of their, agenda for radicalizing the country and dismantling the country. They're using every cultural, political, media, educational tool they can. And Dan, we always love having you on.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.